the ability to do. They're excited for all the events that the campus has to offer. And all it takes is just doing something outside of class that is related to the campus. And so that's what I've been telling a lot of freshman students is get yourself involved in something.
Absolutely.
All it takes is one club, one organization, just the one. So go find an organization that meets, it doesn't need to be a high time commitment. Go find an org that meets maybe a couple times a month, or even if it's once a month, find a different, couple activities that are happening around the month. Go attend those activities. If you just do those couple of simple things, you are improving your experience tenfold. You're going to enjoy the university a lot more, and you're going to have a lot more fun when you're coming to class, because you're going to be able to see people like, sure, they're, your classmates, but you're also going to be able to go see other people and just have a bunch of fun with it. And you're going to be able to enjoy your experience significantly more.
Absolutely. I'm 100% with you. And SGA President Jonathan Ncaa, good enough to join us. Final thing I'll ask you is what I've been asking people all day. Hypothetical situation. Somebody's on the ropes about joining college radio, joining a student org, something like that. What would be the words of wisdom or the advice you'd offer them if they're on the fence?
I'm going to take my inspiration from Nike and say, just do it.
Love it.
No, but seriously, go for it. I mean, the worst thing that can happen is you're told no, but sometimes being told no means that another door is opening up. So even if you're told that this isn't the right way to go, I truly believe that even if that's not the right way to go, there's another path for you, right? You're simply at a fork in the road, and all you see is a do not enter sign. Mm-hmm. So you don't enter that fork, you're going to go down a different way. But if you're on the fence about joining a club, joining an org, go for it. Throw yourself at it. You'll be surprised the amount of energy you put into anything on this university, you're going to get so much back from it. So everything from, college radio to any type of work that you could be interested in, if you go for it, you jump in head first, you really put some time and motivation into it, you're going to be able to get so much back out of it. It's like planting seeds. You're going to plant a seed and you're going to get a great fruit out of it, and you're going to thoroughly enjoy it down the road 8 months' time.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And thank you so much for your time. Unfortunately, it's only an hour, but we do still have, another just absolutely awesome 11 hours of programming today. So make sure you stay tuned all day long. Happy College Radio Day to all of you. Happy Right Day to Give to all of you. And we'll have Parker Testa with The Perspective coming up next. So, Jonathan, thank you so much for your time. We'll talk soon.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Parker Testa coming up next.
To WWSU 106.9 FM, Fairborn, Dayton, Dayton's right choice.
Welcome back to the Nutter Center. I thought he was a little crazy at the time for doing that, but it worked out. But
I'm highly competitive. If we're playing checkers, Parker, I want to beat you. Simple as that.
This idea of arriving doesn't exist. We're always becoming. Do you remember the day that Mark McGuire... Yes, I remember! Said I MF you all the way back to the dugout.
And the Raiders take it. They go undefeated in Horizon League play this season. They are the Horizon League regular season champions.
This is The Perspective with Parker Testa on WWSU 106.9.
Good afternoon, everybody. Happy College Radio Day to all of you. Thank you for joining us here on The Perspective right here on WWSU 106.9 FM. What a day. What a day it's been to this point. And this is, we're in our normal Friday time slot. We're, doing everything that we're doing here. But it's been a day. And it's normally I come in and get ready for the show. But there's been a million different things going on today. And it's not over. It's only 2 o'clock. We have 11 more hours of content for you all today. So incredibly exciting day. What an interview that was with Dean Taylor as well as Jonathan Ncaa, the student body president, that Shay did with both of them. And I was honored to join for that interview with Dean Taylor. So we have a heck of a show for you all today. Really fun show today. It is, we're talking the NFL. My Colts still suck, They're terrible, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. We're also going to be joined by Kelley Ford, who's the Assistant Athletic Director for Competition with the Horizon League. So be sure to stay tuned for that. So with that, we'll get right into it. Titans Colts this past weekend, and that was I expected better from the Colts. I mean, I don't know what I expected. I really didn't. After my rant last week, I don't know what I expected. What did I think was going to happen? They were going to prove me wrong? They were going to come out and play well? Hell no, they didn't. No, they didn't. And sure, you can blame injuries. The Colts injury list is a mile long. But what are you going to do? Final was 25-16. Tannehill throws 3 touchdowns. Titans turned the ball over 3 times and still won the game. How bad does your offense have to be for your defense to force 3 turnovers and only put up 16 points and lose? You got 3 takeaways and still lost the damn game. How? I'm not going to go into a 5 or 6 minute rant like I did last week because there's no point. Sitting here and complaining about it's not going to fix the problem. You know what is going to fix the problem? 1, you need to get your key players back. 2, you need to call better plays. How in the heck? In the red zone, on the 5-yard line or wherever it was, are you going to throw the ball 3 straight times? Why? First down, first and goal inside the red zone or inside the 10. Inside the 10. You're at the 5-yard line. And you throw it 3 straight times? With Jonathan Taylor in your backfield? What kind of logic is that? Frank, I know you are not listening to me right now, but what kind of logic is that? Somebody explain to me what kind of logic allows you to throw the ball 3 straight times inside the 10-yard line. Then you settle for a field goal. Why? Colts have the Dolphins this week. So it's not going to get better. I don't think it's going to get better. As far as the Tennessee Titans go, they get to go to New York and take on the Jets in East Rutherford, which a game that I think they'll win because the Jets are terrible as well. So, yeah, that's all I got on that. That's terrible. Absolutely awful. What are you going to do? I don't know. Can't fix it. I can't fix it. But all I can do is sit here and complain about it all day. So, which I do plenty of. And I'm sure you're sick of it. So, if you want to get in touch with the show, you can. We are on YouTube on the WWSC 106.9 FM YouTube page. I am on Twitter at Parker Testa. So, if you want to say I'm wrong or yell at me or get in touch with the show, you certainly can do that. Bills, Washington. Bills put an absolute killing on the Washington football team. They did. And of course, the week I don't start Josh Allen in fantasy, he puts up 5 freaking touchdowns. Why? And another team that's terrible is my fantasy team. Good God. What happened to my ability to be good at fantasy? I won the championship last year in the league that I was in, and I thought I was going to be really, really good this year. But no, we're 0-3, sitting here at 0-3, the only team in the league that's 0-3. And if you want to talk more about fantasy football, we have a fantasy football hour that's hosted by Scotty Kramer coming up here at 8:00 tonight. Myself and Shay Neal joined Scotty for that. So if you want to do that, you certainly can. Listen to me rant about how bad my fantasy football team is. Certainly join us at 8:00 for that. But, man. But Josh Allen scores 5 touchdowns, 4 of those being passing. He puts up 358. Cole Beasley had 11 for 98 yards. What a game for Buffalo. What a game. Washington looked okay. Taylor Heineke is better than we thought. He is. I mean, I don't know what you want to do about this anymore. Ryan Fitzpatrick's hurt, but Taylor Heineke is all right. He is. What do you want to do? Man. How about Justin Fields? How about Justin Fields? And I'm going to look at all of you right on YouTube when I say this. You on YouTube. I was wrong. I rarely admit that I was wrong on radio, but I was wrong. Justin Fields isn't as good as we thought, based on what we've seen so far. Wow. Browns won the game 26-6. Insane. Listen to this stat. Listen to this stat right here. Total passing yards for the Cincinnati Bears. Anybody know? 1. 1 passing yard for the Chicago Bears. Here, I'll tell you how this happened. Justin Fields was 6 for 20 on passing. 68 yards, no touchdowns. He was sacked 9 damn times. It's comical. How bad did your line have to be sacked 9 times? Are you kidding me? So, okay, that passing yard statistic, Fields passed for 68 yards, sacked 9 times for a total loss of 67 yards. So he had Bears offense had 1 total yard passing. Wow. Insane. Absolutely nuts. How does that happen? Tell me. I don't know. Browns looked all right. Baker Mayfield, 19 of 31, 246, 1 touchdown. Sacked 5 times, but that wasn't nearly as bad as the 9 that Justin Fields got sacked. Wow. Chubb ran all over the Bears defense. 22 for 84. Myles Garrett had 4.5 sacks. Jadeveon Clowney had 2 sacks. Greg Newsome had 3 sacks. Denzel Ward had 3 sacks. Listen to these sack totals for the Browns defense. I'm sorry, those were tackles. I was reading the wrong statistics. But Myles Garrett had 4.5 sacks. Owusu-Koramoah had 0.5 sack. Clowney had 2 sacks. Ronnie Harrison had 1 sack. Malik Jackson had 0.5 sack. Takk McKinley had 0.5 sack. Wow. 9 sacks. That's insane. It's insane. It really is. Get sacked 9 times. Wow. This next story I love. So Justin Tucker sets the NFL record for the longest field goal made. You want to know how he does it? To win the game from 66 yards. 66 yards. That's insane. That's absolutely crazy. Are you kidding me? 66 yards. Off the crossbar. He kicks it 66 yards with as the time expires off the crossbar. The ball hits the crossbar, bounces up in the air, and goes through the posts. New NFL record. Not in Denver. Not in a low altitude place. In Detroit. Granted, it's a dome. But 66 yards. That's insane. To win the game. So the Ravens win the game 19-17 because of field goals NFL record. Or Tucker's NFL record. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. I don't know what I expected out of the Lions, but they've been disappointing. Surely disappointing. I expected more from Dan Campbell. I did. And I'm a Dan Campbell fan, but I think they need to turn it around. They do. You're not gonna win games putting up 17 points with Jared Goff. Really? DeAndre Swift has been really good. He's about the only good guy you've had. Whew. It's been brutal for Lions fans since like 1955. They haven't had anybody good except Barry Sanders, and he got so sick of it, he retired early. Lions fans have a rough go of it. Wow. The Chiefs lose again. Chiefs are 1-2 right now, where we sit here on this Friday, October 1st. Chiefs are 1-2. Anybody expect that? Because I'll tell you something, I didn't. I didn't think the Chiefs would be 1-2. They got beat by the Chargers, who are 2-1. What a start to the year that. What's his name? Mike Williams has had. What a start he's had. Are you kidding me? He's put up like 35, 25, and 25 points in the first 3 weeks of the year. $25 points in the last 2 weeks. You kidding me? Are you kidding me? Wow. Absolutely crazy. And if you guys want to hear that audio on Justin Tucker's field goal, I'm going to try to pull it up for y'all. So we'll do that for you after the break. But, yeah, what a week. What a week. And for the Cincinnati Bengals, they beat the Steelers, and I was so happy they did. I'm not a Steelers fan by any means, and not even close. And I'm not a Bengals fan either. I'm just happy. I'm just happy for Bengals fans. They've waited a long time to be good, and I don't know if they are good, but they're 2-1. Or what week is it? Week 4? 2-2. They're 2-2. They lost to the Bears, they lost to the Vikings, and then they have 2 back-to-back wins after last night. Trevor Lawrence looks bad. Jaguars are bad. So, I don't know what you expected out of Trevor Lawrence, but so far it ain't been good. And who would have thought the 3 teams that were 3-0 right now, Broncos, Raiders, Rams. Granted, Broncos ain't played anybody. So that may be one of those fluke things. The Raiders, I can't figure the Raiders out. I don't know how they're good. I don't know if they are good. And the Rams are fantastic. Rams look like the best team in football right now through 3 weeks. They do. They really do. So, here's my NFL segment for the week. I know it wasn't as entertaining as me screaming into the microphone about the Colts last week, but I'm sure there will be plenty more of those. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we have Kelley Ford, who's with the Horizon League. So great interview with Kelley. We talked a whole bunch of different topics, so Horizon League stuff, and we got really personal with Kelley on what he does. So when we don't go away. More College Radio Day action, more perspective when we come back here at WWSD 106.9. Don't go away.
Donna from Louisiana. the storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hello, this is Dejanay from the University Activities Board. It's homecoming week at Wright State University. Here are some events taking place this week. On Tuesday, we have the National Panhellenic Council Yard Show in the Student Union Atrium at 6 to 8 p.m. On Wednesday, we have Operational International in the Student Union Atrium on Wednesday, September 29th from 3 to 7. On Thursday, we have the Homecoming Parade, Chili Cook-Off, and Bonfire. That's happening at 5 to 10 p.m. And then Friday is tabling for Right Day to Give. And on Saturday, October 2nd, at the soccer field, there will be a pregame/pep rally event taking place as well before the game. I hope to see you all come out to these exciting events and get involved. Go Raiders.
College Radio Day. You are currently listening to WWS.
Tucker's ready. There's the snap. Spot down. Kick on the way. It is up and it is off the crossbar and through. Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me? Justin Tucker from 66 hit the crossbar and it bounced through. And the Ravens are celebrating on the field. The longest field goal in
serving in the Air Force Reserve. Our mission is to fly, fight, and win in air, space, and cyberspace.
I'm proud to be a member. I am proud to protect our...
Proud to serve in the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
AFReserve.com.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
We rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone who
had to be independent and take initiative. And that's how I handle every project I get.
Discover new ways to develop great talent at gradsoflife.org. Brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
Watch out! You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
How do airplanes fly? What's in this box? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Learn how to store your gun securely and make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Shaquila Graves. I am a theater major here at Wright State, and you are listening to WWSU 106.9 Dayton's Right Choice.
Welcome back to The Perspective, everybody. Right here on WWSU 106.9. I told you all I would find that call of Justin Tucker's field goal. So this is the Detroit Lions radio network, WXYT in Detroit. Here's Dan Miller on his call of the Detroit Lions field goal by Justin Tucker.
On the line. Tucker's ready. There's the snap. Spot down. Kick on the way. It is up and it is off the crossbar and through. Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me? Justin Tucker from 66 hit the crossbar and it bounced through. And the Ravens are celebrating on the field. The longest field goal in the history of the NFL has just beaten the Detroit Lions.
So that was Dan Miller of WXYT in Detroit on the Detroit Lions radio network. That was his call of Justin Tucker's field goal, and it was insane, to say the least. So with that, we're going to bring on Kelley Ford. Kelley is the assistant director or assistant commissioner for competition with the Horizon League. We talked a lot of interesting topics, so stay tuned for that. Without further ado, here is Mr. Kelley Ford.
Joining us now is Kelley Ford, who's the assistant commissioner for competition and basketball strategy with the Horizon League office. Kelley, thanks for joining us. How are you?
Good, Parker. Thanks for having me. Really excited to be here with you today.
So my first question right off the bat is, how does someone find themselves working in a NCAA league office?
Yeah, so there are many different paths, as I've come to find out, as to how people get into college athletics and college athletics administration. My path is very different from most, and I found that most everyone has a unique path. So for me, I've always been passionate about sports. I always thought it would be cool to work in sports, but to be quite honest with you, I didn't really know what that meant or how that looked. My dad is a civil engineer and has worked for the state of Indiana for many, many years. My mom is a high school math teacher. So while my sisters and I played sports growing up, and some of my older sisters were actually student athletes in college, I was not. But while we had that involvement with sports, I didn't really know what it meant to work and make a living in sports. So I didn't do it right away. I went to Purdue. I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. I went to Purdue right here in Indiana and majored in mechanical engineering. So I actually worked as a mechanical design engineer in Indianapolis for just over a year right out of undergrad, and just decided I didn't want to do that for 40 years. I thought, if I'm going to be working for that long, I want to do something that I enjoy a little bit more. So I decided to go back to school and went to Ohio University over there, not too far from Wright State in Dayton, and did a 2-year program there. It was a master's or an MBA and a master's in sports administration. So that allowed me to transition into college athletics and into college athletic administration. So that's kind of how I got to where I am. A position opened up in an ideal time for me right in my hometown at the Horizon League office. And so that opportunity was made available to me. I took it, and I've been at the league office now for almost 4 years and love every day of it. So that's kind of how I got here. Everyone has their own story, but that's mine.
So you mentioned your passion for sports and you wanting to work in sports. Where does that passion for sports come from for you?
Yeah, I'm honestly not exactly sure how it originated, where it originated. I've always had it, like for as long as I can remember. I remember being a very young kid, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years old. And we used to get the paper at my parents' house. I know newspapers are kind of going by the wayside now. We used to get the Indy Star. And I remember when that paper would come, I pulled the sports section out and I'd read it front to back. And one day my mom asked me, well, Kelley, don't you want to read something else? The business section, the living section, just the general news, world news, local news. And it like dawned on me that, oh my gosh, there are other sections of the newspaper. I mean, for me, it's always been sports. I've always loved sports. I played sports growing up. Soccer was my favorite sport to play. Football is my favorite sport to watch. So for me, it's something it's hard to explain. It's always been there. And it probably stemmed a little bit from, as I mentioned, I have a couple sisters. 2 of them are older, 1 is younger. My older sisters played sports, so I was always being dragged to their sporting events. And I think it's just something that took for me at a very young age and has always been there. So college football is probably my absolute bar none favorite sport to watch. And it works out well because in the Horizon League, we do have 2 members who sponsor football, but we as a league do not sponsor it. So it actually allows me to kind of watch football on the weekends instead of working football events as I did in grad school when I was at Ohio University.
So you are, like we said, competition and basketball strategy assistant commissioner. What do you enjoy most about your position?
Yeah, so I'm in somewhat of a new role now. We've undergone some staff transition recently as we've had members of our staff go on to other opportunities that they've had. And what that's done is create additional opportunities for those of us still at the league office to take on more. So my role has developed or evolved a little bit since my first day at the league office back in December of 2017. So like I said, almost 4 years ago, I entered as the director of administration. And now, as you said, assistant commissioner for competition and basketball strategy. So in my role, I oversee the sport of men's soccer. I'm also involved with the sports of men's and women's tennis, but the primary function that I have now is overseeing our men's and women's basketball championships. And that's really the operational level, as well as then being heavily involved with ticket sales for that event. And then also being on the sponsorship team for basketball championships, as well as league sponsorship as well. So, what I like most about my role is really we have a small staff. We have about 10 people full-time that work at our league office. So because we have 10 people and because we sponsor 19 championships and we have 12 member institutions, and I laid out some of the things I do, that really is the focus of my work, but that doesn't capture everything. It would take much longer than we have to capture everything that we do with such a small staff. My favorite thing is the breadth of opportunities that we have at a league office. I mean, I get to touch so many different areas. I mentioned the competition, but we get to touch communications and messaging, governance and compliance. I talked about sponsorships, analytics. I mean, we touch all these different areas, and it's because it's all this work that needs to get done, and there's only so many people that are there to do it. So that's what I enjoy most about the work. And then I think what I really learned, I enjoyed the people I worked with in my engineering firm, and that was great. That was not the part of the job I didn't like. But what I've really learned in my professional career is jobs are a lot more fun when you enjoy the people you work with. And I really, really enjoy the small team that we have. I think we're very strong. And so it makes it easy every day to get up and want to go to the office when you enjoy the people and you genuinely think of them as friends, not just colleagues. So that's what I enjoy most, being able to touch so many different areas of college athletics, which is just really cool for me, given my interest in sports and in college athletics, but then also the people I work with.
So you mentioned that you grew up playing sports. You mentioned that you really enjoyed soccer. Is there anything else that you played and kind of got involved with when you were growing up?
Yeah, so I played soccer was my primary sport, my favorite sport, probably the sport, quite honestly, I was best at. And I did actually, Wright State at one point was a school that I was considering and thinking about playing soccer at the college level. So interesting that I'm on with you today talking about soccer, but I ultimately decided not to pursue college or playing soccer in college and focused on what I thought would be my career. And that was my undergrad work in engineering. We now know how that turned out. So I did, though, play football when I could. So that was only a couple years in middle school. It conflicts with the soccer season. And as I got older, soccer became a year-round thing for me. But I also played basketball up to and including freshman year of high school. So those are my main sports. I did play one season of baseball when I think I was 7 or 8 years old. It was my dad's favorite sport growing up. He wanted me to like it. I tried it. I didn't. I think it broke his heart. He still loves me though, at least he says. So baseball for 1 year, but soccer was really the primary. And then I did actually coach soccer as well. Throughout college, I helped out with my high school program, the high school team that I played for. And then I coached a travel soccer team for that 1 year that I spent as an engineer because I had to have my sports fix, right? I mean, I had to be involved somehow. And I've gotten out of the coaching now that my full-time job is in college athletic administration, but definitely have a great appreciation for all the coaches out there, and especially those coaches in the Horizon League, because I only saw it for a year, and I saw it at a low-level travel club in local Indianapolis. What our coaches do in the Horizon League and across the country in college athletics is absolutely amazing. The amount of time and effort that goes into what they do, it never stops. They're either recruiting, they're on the training grounds or the court or whatever it is, or they're in competition. I mean, it's a nonstop 24/7 job, and then many of them have lives outside of that job too, with their families and their own interests. So how they do it all, I don't know. Just massive respect for all the coaches out there that do that.
Something that you said with coaching is I was a little league baseball coach. I'm an Indiana guy as well, grew up just north of Indianapolis. So I really enjoy that coaching. Just coaching in general is a lot of fun, as I assume that you know.
Yeah, that's awesome. What suburb north of Indianapolis are you from?
I am from Noblesville.
Absolutely. My sister-in-law teaches at an elementary school in Noblesville. One of my really good friends growing up that I played soccer with, we had kids from all over the state and actually outside the state that played on our team. But one of my really good friends growing up went to Noblesville High School. So Noblesville was always a hard out in soccer, at least while I was in high school. So it's been 10 years or so now, but Noblesville, great youth sports there in Noblesville. So yeah, absolutely.
So COVID and the shutdowns on all NCAA athletic programs have wreaked havoc everywhere across the country, especially here in the Horizon League with having no fall sports last year in the Horizon League. How when talking about the NCAA as a whole and sports as a whole, what do you is your opinion on how these programs can come back from having such an impact on with COVID and shutdowns?
Yeah, I think it's a good question and something that we definitely face in the Horizon League, as you said, but it was nationwide, it was global, right? I mean, it was the global pandemic. So right. We're looking forward to, we have 2021-22 academic year competition underway. We started with men's soccer this past weekend with league games. So that was really exciting. And we do have some COVID protocols in place, but we're looking forward to, and I know our membership is as well, getting back to closer to the pre-pandemic world than the COVID world that we experienced basically from March of 2020 through the 20-21 academic year. I think nationally speaking, what COVID did was really make us at the league office and on campuses around the country and really at the NCAA level, it made us kind of reevaluate what's most important. And it all came down to student athlete health and safety and competition. And so that really became the focus, and it kind of recentered us on what should we be doing in college athletic administration. So that was challenging. It was a hard time for everyone in every industry. Ours was no exception. We're excited to be hopefully moving past that a little bit here. But I think moving forward to your question of how can we, what have we learned? How can we get back to it? I think it's just the general excitement of getting back to normal. We learned a lot about what we should be doing and how we should be doing it. And the NCAA is undergoing their own review as well right now. They have a committee working on what their role should be in college athletics. So everyone kind of just I think it reshaped the perspective, no matter what perspective that was. Student athletes had a perspective. It was very hard on a lot of them from a mental well-being standpoint in terms of just not doing what they're used to and being able to do what they love, which is competing at the highest level. It had an impact on campus administrators in terms of, well, they weren't doing what they're used to and what they love doing, which is that in-person interaction with their student athletes. COVID made that very hard, anything in person. At the league office level, we had to recenter on what should we be doing? What's our focus? And so we took a deep dive in our strategic plan. And then at the national level too, how should they be spending their time? So I think moving forward, everyone's just excited to be getting back to the pre-pandemic norm and understanding that's probably still going to be a little bit different, but COVID really just helped shape perspectives. And I think that's probably the biggest takeaway from it.
So you said that you were a big sports fan, football being your favorite one to watch. Are you a fantasy football guy?
So I used to be a fantasy football guy. And then as I got into college athletics and some of the rules that we have as employees of college athletics, there's a lot of compliance rules that go into that, right? In terms of gambling and playing fantasy sports and all those things. So I have not for the last few years been in fantasy football, much to the chagrin of some of the guys I used to play with. They used to like taking my money because for as analytical and for as much as I think I know about football, I wasn't very good at fantasy football. So it's probably for the best that I'm no longer in that. It was kind of a big time suck too, Parker. I'm not sure if you play, but my goodness, I was in like 3 different leagues. And then it's like, well, I have Andrew Luck in this league, but I'm playing against him in this other league. So it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. And so yeah, it was fantasy football. While it's fun and while there are aspects of it that I do miss, I think all in all, it's probably for the best that I'm not doing that anymore. So yeah, but do you play though, Parker?
I do. And I completely understand your point of you know, it's a very big time stealer.
Yeah.
And so I try to keep it at the minimum, but I do know some guys who are in 4 and 5 leagues. It's like, gosh, how do you have that much time for that? But I got one last question for you. And that's, you said you were a big professional sports fan, Colts fan, I might ask.
Absolutely. Being
yes.
born and raised in Indianapolis, the Colts are my an NFL team of choice, always have been. We were spoiled with Peyton Manning and then going right into Andrew Luck. And now I think we're starting to see a little bit more recently about what most fan bases go through. We did not have a good game this past weekend against the Seahawks, but we'll see. I mean, right, guys coming back from injuries and COVID lists and all that stuff. I'll be honest, I would love to see the Colts vaccination rate get a little bit higher and closer to the league average. For some reason, we're not quite on that train, but that's those guys' decision, and they have to do what's right for them. But yeah, a big Colts fan. I assume you are too, being from Indy then.
Absolutely.
There you go. Is that tough down there by Wright State? Because I imagine most people that are local there are probably Bengals fans, if I had to guess, or maybe Browns fans just in Ohio.
It is. So we have a lot of Bengals, Browns, and you'd be surprised, Steelers fans around here.
Oh, okay.
So there's a lot of those, and I'm not the biggest Ohio State fan either. So I get a lot of grief for that. But
I'm sure.
Kelley, I can't thank you enough for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Parker. Glad to be here anytime.
That was Mr. Kelley Ford with the Horizon League. Great stuff from Kelley. Great conversation, too. That was one of the more personable conversations that I've had with any of my guests on this show. So I can't thank Kelley enough for his time. He's, a great guy, and he's, we had to reschedule that interview, actually, because we were supposed to do it back, about 5 or 6 weeks ago, and he had a baby early than expected. So congratulations to Kelley and his family on their newborn child. So again, thank you to Kelley for joining on this show here on The Perspective. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're talking MLB playoffs. What the heck is happening in the American League? I don't know, but we'll talk through it. More College Radio Day action coming up all day long up until 1 a.m. this 1 a.m. tomorrow morning. So stay tuned for that all day long. More Perspective when we come back here on WWSU 106.9.
Every day, men and women from communities across this nation serve as Reserve Citizen Airmen.
I am proud to defend our nation.
Proud to be part of a team that helps make a difference.
I am proud to be part of something larger than me and to serve my country.
We celebrate those who have served and those who are proudly serving in the Air Force Reserve. Our mission is to fly, fight, and win in air, space, and cyberspace.
I am proud to be a member. I am proud to protect our...
Proud to serve in the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
College Radio Day. You are currently listening to WWSU Radio's 17-hour radiothon for College Radio Day. Enjoy 17 hours of
back-to-back radio shows,
special guest interviews,
sports talk,
good music, no automation. From now until 1 a.m. Eastern Time on WWSU. This is Resistance Radio.
World College Radio Day. World College Radio Day.
Hello to the world.
Καλημέρα σε όλους. Εκπέμπουμε ζωντανά από το ραδιοφωνικό σταθμό του Πανεπιστημίου Πατρών.
Από την Ελλάδα σε όλο τον κόσμο. Για το World College Radio Day.
Στον Oviru Dia Mundial das Rádios Universitárias.
Sinä kuuntelet maailman opiskelijaradiopäivää World College Radio Day.
You tuned in to World College Radio Day, a day where college radio stations across the globe unite to celebrate the most powerful medium.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is how we do every day. We be grinding, and if you want to come and text us...
If you love them enough to turn off your music and pretend like their music is your music.
Ah, this is Mommy's jam.
The
Thirteenth start, 4-1.
disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Are you looking for excitement? Are you looking for adventure? Are you looking for good music? Tune on in to WWSU 106.9 FM, Fairborn, Dayton, Dayton's right choice, where every day feels like a new adventure.
Welcome back to The Perspective, everybody, here on WWSU 106.9, here on this Friday. It's October. How is it already October? I have no idea. It's already October. We're already, 6 weeks into school. What's happening? Why is this going so fast? But it's October. It's Friday. It's College Radio Day. So you heard some ads there in the break of college radio. It's College Radio Day across the world, where college radio stations come together and celebrate. Really, one of the coolest parts about being in college is college radio. I honestly believe that. So if you're out there listening right now and you think I'm wrong, that's okay. I'm wrong a lot. But it's College Radio Day. We still have 10 hours of programming left here on College Radio Day. It's going to be a lot of fun. So with that, we're going to get into some baseball, and I'm going to play some highlights. This highlight from the Dodgers the other night. As you all know, I'm a Dodgers fan. I love my Dodgers. So they hit 4 home runs in 1 inning the other night. So this credit goes out to the MLB Advanced Media and Sportsnet LA. So here's the call of the Dodgers, 4 home runs the other night.
See what Betts can do here. Mookie swings and he hits a high drive to left. Marisnik back to the wall, and it's gone. A home run. Mookie Betts, home run number 22, and it's 9-6. Now Max Muncy trying to get something going in the 8th. Back swings, hits a high drive to right center field. Back goes Myers. He's at the wall. It is gone. Maxwell swinging the silver hammer in the 8th inning, and it's 9-7. And A.J. Pollock homered in the 1st inning. This one to right field and deep. And Apollo 11. We have liftoff. It's 9-8. Back-to-back home runs in the 8th inning for the Dodgers. Second one of the night for Pollock. One out for Bellinger. Bellinger hammers one to right field. This one's back. This one's gone. A belly bomb ties the game. Can you believe it? It is bedlam at Chavez Ravine as Cody Bellinger comes up large in the 8th.
What a call those were, and the Dodgers ended up winning that game 11-9. It was a great game. So MLB playoffs are in full swing right here no, they're not in full swing. They're about to be in full swing. What the heck is happening in the AL? What's going on in the AL? Somebody tell me. I don't know. What's happening?